Okay. Can you tell me what Angel in Disguise is about?
It's about my life story in short forms of angels that has occurred in my life. I have acknowledged them and I have written a book in honor of my angels. Um, I've had many, some from the age of 4.5.
Can I interrupt before you
Mhm.
continue? When you're saying angels, are you talking about these airy fairy ones that
Okay, well,
appear in heaven?
I'm going to.
That appear in heaven and come down to earth to give us a message? Or what do you mean by angels?
Human angels,
Okay.
live angels.
Well, they're all live.
Some people see angels in their minds.
You mean physical angels? Okay. When you
They
mean
see
live.
angels that are angels with wings. Some claim to have seen angels. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. The possibility is there. Also, angels that uh, feed the human race, and they will create such wonderful things on earth that human beings think of them as angels. Mine all occurred in my own particular life.
Mm-hmm.
Not all are noticeable. Sometimes you forget that you've had an angel around you. You don't recognize it. In other words, you have to look. You have to use your heart. If you use your heart, that means that you can actually be part of that angel that comes to you.
Can you give me an example, maybe to help
I'll give you an
our
example
viewers?
with my first one. My first angel was my father, which at the age of about 4.5, it was my mother's birthday. Uh, we were all in a home. I'm not quite sure what kind of home it was, but I know there was a kitchen and chairs to sit on. And along the morning progressed, someone came from the kitchen carrying a teapot. In those days, the water was boiled on the stove. It was very hot. She tripped and it fell on my right leg, scalding my right leg. Those days, our dresses were very thin. We never wore no pants, so it was really scalded. Of course, I started to scream and holler and whatever. My first angel came to me as my father. He made me drink a whole glass of liquor. I say he was an angel because from that experience, all through my life, no one has been able to convince me to drink. So he's automatically been my angel all along, in
Mm-hmm.
spite of the human that he is. Not that he was doing angel work, but it was my angel nevertheless.
So in a way, he did something that provided you with guidance for the rest of your life.
Exactly, because
Okay.
in doing the scalding and the drinking was terrible, worse than the actual burn, because I threw up, I had a hangover, and I absolutely disgust the thought of drinking. So my angel cured me of never to drink again.
Okay.
So, but he was not a perfect man.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not a perfect man.
Mm-hmm. So how many angels do you think you've had in your life?
Well, I'll let you find out if you read the book.
No, no, you can't say that.
Oh, yes, I can.
Yes, you can, but it's not going to make me want to buy the book.
Well,
It makes
if
me
I
make.
tell you too much, it might give away the best part of life. As you're listening and reading this book, you might, trigger a thought
Mhm.
as you read it. And I don't want to spoil this.
By telling me how many roughly doesn't spoil
Oh,
it.
God, now let me see. I have to think.
No, just roughly. 5, 10,
Oh, there's
30.
about 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 10
Okay.
angels in
So they
disguise
came throughout your life, different.
through my
Were they at?
up to now.
You're gonna have to let me finish the questions. Were they periods in your life where you were having extreme difficulty? Like the burn was pretty painful. Were they all at moments of desperate need?
Not exactly pain, some of them. Some of us just being confused at a
Now you've got me
confusing
confused with
time.
that. Oh, confusing time for you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
sometimes it was just a moment in a real rescue situation.
Can you, without telling the
Sometimes
story,
we do something that we could die from, and sometimes we're rescued by our own angels in disguise, and we don't recognize it right away. So that's what I want you to look at as you read.
so you want
Find
us,
your own angel.
so you want us to see how people we take for granted every day could be our angel in disguise.
Definitely.
Okay. How long have you been writing?
Oh, goodness. I think I first wrote about 8, 9 years old. I wrote a song,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Rock Me to Sleep in My Cradle of Love. And about 20 years later, I heard it on the radio.
I was
Not
gonna say that.
exactly those words.
It sounds familiar.
Well, yes, it sounds familiar because it was somebody's hit song. And of course, the words are a little different. My intent, I think, was different than what theirs are. Those were more sexually oriented to, and I was more to the mother image. So, but there, nevertheless, it was still there.
Is this your first book, Jean?
No, it's not.
Can you tell me what your first book was about?
Oh,
Published.
Published. Well, heaven's forgiving, not punishing.
Heaven's Forgiving, Blessings Not Punishment.
Yes.
Okay. What's that book
And
about?
about my life stories of being a psychic is all about. The customers that I've had throughout many years of teaching and helping others. Uh,
So you're a psychic.
oh, definitely. I don't know what psychic really, honestly meant. I didn't learn that for a long time. But I've always been one. I didn't know what was. I thought there was something wrong with me.
What do you mean there was something wrong
Well,
with
if
you?
somebody came into the house, I'd know them more than they know themselves, and it was not nice. Very confusing at times.
How old were you when this began?
Well, from the time now that I've started to write my family history, my own history, with a friend, and it brought back memories of the things that has occurred to me, I think I was always a psychic, only didn't recognize it. Of course, my daughter Caroline, that I'm talking to now, gave me a book, Edgar Casey, The Sleeping Prophet, which at that time clarified a lot of things that I was doing that I didn't know what was. So sometimes being illiterate, like I am, makes you feel out of place, not smart enough. But as I got older and started to use my psychic ability, I finally realized, maybe about 15, 20 years ago, that I have a lot more going than most people.
That's true.
It's because I've had 7 children, 12 grandchildren, and 11 great grand, and each one of them is very special. There's not one better than the other, same as my 7 children. They're all the same to me. One's not better than the other. They all have their faults, and they all have their good points.
So your first book was Heaven's Forgiving, Blessings Not Punishments, basically case studies of the clients that you've had for the last how many years?
Ooh,
30 years?
probably more. I think the first time I had actually an office to work from was in 1985, 86, somewhere like that, 85 or 86. But prior to that, I had done readings for family and friends, horsing around.
So you've done Heaven's Forgiving, Blessings Not Punishment. Have you written anything else?
I have written lots of stories. I have a lot of stories written, but one that I have published is my favorite one is Ask 'em and Kevin,
Kevin and
Awesome
Ask 'em.
Twosome.
Kevin and Askham.
Kevin and Askham.
An awesome twosome.
They sure are an awesome twosome.
What makes them awesome? What's Askham?
I think that I've created quite a bit of a psychic dog.
He's a dog.
Yeah,
Tell me about the name. Askham.
Well, Askham comes from many, many years ago when my sister was alive and they lived in Metatchewan, way out in the Moondock up north. And someone was coming from the States and they had to cross the border and they had a dog in their car. And of course the officer says, what's your dog's name? We have to list the animals that's going through. He says, ask him. And the guy got kind of pissed off because, what do you mean, ask the dog? You think I'm crazy? And it made a joke. It started by just a dog and a man saying, are you crazy? And it continued because the next time I saw my brother-in-law, I had a dog called Askham. And my dog personally lived to 21 years of age.
So is this psychic dog and Kevin and Askham related, or some of the stories connected to your dog Askham? Or some of his characteristics?
Yes, the love, the kindness, the awesome feeling that people got when they used to pass my house. He would growl and you would think that he was going to bite everybody that made contact with him. And yet it was just a friendly growl. There wasn't too many people that passed my street without stopping with a treat for my dog Askham. Now the dog catcher didn't have much luck because he was smarter than the dog catcher, and I think he was even smarter than me because I wouldn't be able to find him. And believe it or not, we didn't realize what he was doing until he had passed away 21 years later. We have a culvert that goes beside my house. It goes all the way up, about 4 streets up. I live on Leon, and it comes out on Woodbine. And as soon as the dog would see the dog catcher's van, he would go underneath there and, of course, land up way up on Woodbine Avenue. The dog, of course, would come back half an hour later, and the dog catcher would say, well, I saw your dog. And I would say, I don't know where you've seen him. It's, he's not here. So, anyways, it went on.
So, Kevin, and you have heaven forbid, cancel. You have heaven's forgiving, blessings not punishment. You have Kevin and Askham, an awesome twosome. Is this going to be a series of books?
Yes, it will be. It's a series of 10 books.
And what's in these books?
They're stories almost like Lassie, Hobo. The dog is not a very big dog. And he goes from one place to another, even different countries.
And what do they do in those countries?
Well, you'll be surprised when you read some of the stories. Some of them are in France, England, Texas, Australia, all over the place.
Lassie Stories, for those who don't know, is a TV series many, many years ago, basically about a collie and rescuing the boy occasionally, and very family-oriented TV show, which was nice. And Littlest Hobo, he would go into different places by himself, and he would sort of solve mysteries. So Kevin, tell me a little bit about Kevin.
Kevin was an asthmatic boy. He had a very hard time when he was very young. Never had too many friends. Didn't go to school too often. Very sickly. And one day he passed on his way to go to school, and he saw a litter of 8 puppies. And of course one puppy in particular came up to him at the fence, and he fell in love with him. Finally convinced the mother to let him have it. And
I bet you that changed his life.
It changed his life very drastically.
Does he still have asthma?
No, not as much. It took a little while, but within a couple of years he had no more asthma.
So boy and dog, he must go with his father or mother. How old's the boy?
He started, I think it was about 11 years old.
Okay, so the story starts off with him being 11.
Yeah.
So they travel to different countries, solving mysteries.
Different cities.
Okay. And now the one that you're focusing on
The one I'm
is
focusing on,
Angel
if
in
I
Disguise.
remember correctly, is a story about a beaver, which will come out in one single book, hopefully, just about that. For children, that someone is offered to read in a place where there'll be children present.
Okay, so it's just going to be one short story.
It's called Gone Again.
Gone Again. Okay. So you've done quite a bit of writing, and you're what age right now?
I'm 82, I think. Could be 83 for all I know.
And you're healthy and well, and you plan on being around to finish the series of 10?
Well, I don't ask much of life, but I do want to ask God to let me live until I'm finished my stories of Bascom. And beyond, because I've got about maybe 7, maybe 10 other books that should be published.
Okay, well, we began this interview because we wanted to focus on the book that you're publishing right now.
Angels in Disguise.
Yes. So what is the general message that you want to give your readers?
The
or your
message I
audience?
want to give my readers is please take a look at yourself. Know yourself. Respect yourself and acknowledge the rights and the wrongs.
That's about self. What about our angels?
Well, in doing that, you will claim an angel. You will automatically realize someone has helped you to the point where it has become an angel.
So you want us to recognize who our angels are.
Exactly. Don't expect them to be having wings. Some of them have wings. Mine didn't have any wings. Even a deceased angel sometimes don't have wings. Sometimes they're just in your mind. Sometimes they're just your imagination. Take whatever you get and go with it, because it will help you recognize, yes, we all have angels.
So where will people be able to get this book? Angels in
Hopefully
Disguise.
it'll be at Kohl's and at Chapters and wherever else I can stick it.
We're not going to say that. Okay, thank you very much. That was a good trial run. Let's stop it. How do I stop this sucker? Oh yeah, button.